In this week's episode, I'm going to take two pieces of parenting advice that I stumbled across on Facebook and deconstruct them in real time so that I can show you how these articles lure you in with an interesting promise of one thing and then lull you into feeling safe with their very reasonable sounding openings. And then you open up your heart and you get to their advice, and it's almost always a gut punch of blame to the parent of something we should be doing more of or less of, or the hidden ways that those perfectly reasonable things you were doing well, you were also getting dinner and the 12 other things you have to do in a day, how those are going to ruin your child forever and it will be all your fault. The purpose behind doing this today is I want to arm you so that you don't let this bad advice into your tender, tender heart. I believe deeply that these articles are part of the reason that parents feel so stressed, part of the reason that we're so hard on ourselves, so much harder on ourselves than is helpful to both us and to our families.
Welcome to Parenting Successful Teens, the podcast that cuts through the overwhelm and stress of this phase and offers parents simple, practical, cognitive, science-based strategies for keeping their teens on track. Join Master Coach and real-life mom, Allie Irwin, to talk about real teens, real problems, and the skills it takes to raise successful adults.
I was scrolling Facebook today and came across the following ad. It read, "Why loving parents can end up raising kids who struggle with lifelong problems." Now, normally I'm not a sucker for Facebook ads, but I clicked because I am really interested in learning more about how good parents who are doing their best still end up raising kids that struggle. Right? As parents, we're sold the idea over and over again that if we just do the right things, then our kids will turn out, quote unquote, the right ways. And 99% of the literature out there is around like what parents are doing wrong that are causing their kids to have certain problems, or what they're not doing, that they should be doing. So 9 times out of 10, right, it's about the article is a child is having this problem and here's what the parent did or didn't do that caused this problem. So I was genuinely excited to read that 1% article that explains why it's not the parent's fault, like how these things happen because of forces that are outside of our control. Okay, that's a long setup, so I'm guessing that you already know where I'm going with this. That is not what the article said. The article blamed the parents. So I'm going to break this article down, and then I'm going to break another article down that I read directly after this to show you how these articles lure us in with the promise of one thing, and then almost always end up with a gut punch of making us feel bad, and very often making us feel bad because it's a cheap way to get our attention so that they can sell us something. Okay, these articles, you've heard me say this before, are not looking to actually help parents. And so what I want to do this week is break these articles down kind of in real time to show you the tricks they use so that you can protect your tender, tender heart and only take in things that are good for you. Okay, so this article opens up with about 3 paragraphs of really lovely sounding stuff about how we're all doing our best. And then it gets to this section that is bolded. Like the other part of the article was written in like 14-point font and black. And then this is highlighted in the center. It's bright green and it's twice as big. And it reads, "Most adult issues are the results of hundreds of seemingly small interactions, inconsequential interactions we have with our kids. If a child wants affection, attention, acknowledgments, and they don't get it, they ask why. Why am I not getting affection? I guess I'm not lovable. Why am I not getting attention? Well, I guess I'm not important. Why am I not getting acknowledgement? Why am I getting criticized? Well, I guess I'm not good enough. The quote goes on to explain that even a simple thing like a parent looking at their iPhone when their child is trying to get their attention or is asking a question can lead them to conclude a negative belief about themselves. And that belief is that they're not important. Okay, can you feel the gut punch? You're reading along, the mistake you're unwittingly making. And then they tell you that mistake you're unwittingly making is the thing that all of us do all the time, every day. And they're telling you that if you look at your iPhone, which, we're all doing every day, and your child sees you doing that they're going to believe they're not important. And can you feel how unworkable that piece of advice is? Okay, so it even goes on farther. It says, what your kids are really seeing is you on your iPhone. But what they think they're seeing is that what I have to say is not important. The belief is formed and then stays with the child because they can't not believe something they think they saw out in the world, which is you looking at your iPhone when they wanted your attention. That connection with what they saw and the meaning they assigned to it solidifies in the belief in their mind for years or even decades to come. Okay, that's the end of the quote. So basically, they lure you in with this idea that there's a simple mistake that you're making that you could easily correct that would help your children, be more successful in life. And they lure you into this false sense of security with a couple of reasonable sounding paragraphs. And then they gut punch you by telling you the thing that you do most is not most, but the thing that you do frequently is going to lead them to have this belief that you're not even aware that they're having because they're misinterpreting what you're doing. And that will haunt them for decades to come. So not only the things that you're aware of that you can fix, but all these things that you're unaware of are going to be a problem. Okay, what do you do with that piece of advice? She's basically saying you have to get every interaction with your kid exactly right, and not just right from an objective standpoint, but also right from your guessing what meaning they're making out of your actions. And no one can do that. That is a completely unwinnable game. That is an unuseful suggestion to parents. It's like intensive parenting times 1,000. And the worst part is even though your brain can mostly reject this idea if you even made it through the whole article, even skimmed the whole article, but that smear of guilt, because we all believe that we should be on our phones last, that smear of guilt is there. And then you try to be on your phone last, but they're on their phone. And so you check your phone and then they say something. And, it's that smear of guilt remains. The article has done its damage, even if you intellectually reject it for the most part. Or say, oh, yeah, I should do that, but there's nothing, I can do. Like, we're all on our phone, so I guess my kids are screwed. Okay? And that becomes a little bit of guilt that you carry around with yourself all the time. Okay, so that's the first article. And what makes this situation even worse is I want to highlight some clips from the next article I read after this. Okay, so I'm still just kind of scrolling and clicking through things, which is just, a normal way of being on Facebook. And I came across this second article from this magazine called Ravishly that is entitled, "Go Ahead, Parents, Let Your Kids Screw Up Their Lives." What's funny is I got excited again, thinking that, I fell for the same bait twice in the span of an hour, so shame on me. But again, I'm thinking this is going to be a good article and it's going to be supportive of parents letting their kids just be humans, be full of good characteristics and bad characteristics, making good choices and bad choices, and just knowing that it's all going to work out in the end. But once again, that is not what this article is about. This article is a judgmental screed on how hypervigilant parents are ruining their kids. And I'm taking the time to read these 2 excerpts for you because I want you to use this information to develop your own critical eye. And I want you to notice that this article essentially says the opposite of the article before it. So same kind of advertised premise that it's okay to let your kids fail at things. And then they give you completely opposite pieces of advice. And so really, no matter what you're doing, you can't win. And so both of these articles make you feel guilty, but in a completely opposite way. Okay, so here we go. The thing is, if parenting is a sport, I'm unclear about what the goal is for these hypervigilant moms and dads. To my mind, the goal of raising kids is to make them into self-sufficient adults who are kind and smart and capable of taking care of themselves. Okay, so she's got us, right? We're lured in because those are good goals. We're agreeing with her. We're mentally nodding yes. We're like, yeah, we want to raise kind, self-sufficient, caring adults. Okay, but then she comes in, with that like undercut gut punch. If you could see me, I'm making like the undercut jabbing motion. And she says, to these helicopter parents, the goal seems to be to micromanage their children's lives and provide a buffer between them and the world, never allowing their precious child. Can you feel that dripping with scorn? Precious child. Like she's not honoring that we think our children are precious. It's dripping with scorn. Never allowing their precious child to experience anything unpleasant or to have anything less than the very best the world has to offer. Okay? Ouch. She's saying, she's taking this thing that is true about parents. Like, yes, I wish my children didn't have to suffer. I wish I didn't have to suffer. I'm annoyed when there's a line because I don't like waiting in line. But that very real feeling of not wanting our children to suffer, most parents are not taking it to this extreme that she's accusing parents of. Right? Like that first article is saying we don't protect our kids enough. We make these mistakes we don't even know we're making that aren't even real mistakes. They're just things that happen and our kids are ruined forever. And so we should pay closer attention to our kids. And then the second article is saying because we're paying such closer attention to our kids, we're trying to protect them from everything, which is not what we're doing. But again, that scorn, we take that scorn in. So they're believing that there's some magical balance between protecting them enough, but not protecting them too much, that we're always trying to walk. And that's an impossible balance to reach. Good luck with that, because these 2 articles are going to look at the same parent and come to completely different judgments. Okay? And the worst part is if you are a parent who's trying to do your best and you read these articles, they make you feel bad even when intellectually you can make the argument that's not me. So I want to close out today's episode with the idea that when you're reading these articles, pay really close attention to how you feel when you're reading them. And so I want you to read those articles, like I said, with a good sense of smell for the stink of parental blame. Okay? The articles that are useful are going to be the articles that help you feel like more of yourself as a mom. And those articles are going to build you up and help you strengthen your own maternal instincts. And that starts with you feeling really good about yourself as a mom, really strong and capable and confident, and believing that the love you have and the knowledge that you have about your specific family that you have built over years of raising them, that is the key ingredient. Okay? Things that make you feel better about yourself, your capabilities, your insights, your wisdom, those are the sources that will genuinely be helpful to you. My wish for you in 2023 is to really cultivate your own maternal instincts, really cultivate your belief in your inherent goodness as a mom, your confidence that you can handle whatever is going to come your way. I have a couple of spaces for new clients, and I would love to get started with you in January. Hey, if you enjoyed today's show and you want even more support and a shot of fresh inspiration in your email box each week, you have to get on my list. Sign up to receive my free guide on how to stop second-guessing yourself as a mom. There are so many decisions to make as a mom, and this guide will help you to make decisions and just move on. No more waking up 3 a.m. wondering if you made the wrong decision. This guide is so good, even my non-mom clients are raving about it. So sign up today, and I will see you next week.